Hello, everybody. It is Friday, September the 17th, and you have tuned into the live stream for Talk About Your Community. My name is Todd Nielsen, your host of Clocktower Advisors. And we talk about all things community on this channel, anything ranging from little startup discussion forums to private Facebook groups to large enterprise online communities, which really is a bit of a lead into my guest today. Who is the principal product marketing manager for Khoros, one of the big guns, I'll say, in the online community platform space. And we're going to be talking about a couple of interesting things here in just a minute. But just wanted to do a quick check-in with everybody and say hello. I'm really glad you're in the channel. If you're here for the first time, I am glad you're here, and we do pay attention to the comments that are going on an ongoing basis. So, for instance, I see Jeff Rowe showed up. Hello, great to see you. If you have questions, comments, reactions, we'll definitely be watching, and we'll jump in and say some things. Typically, this is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday live stream that I put up at 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time every week. I have been off schedule with this for the last couple of weeks, just maybe doing one stream per week, either on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, simply because this is the online community conference season. It seems like we've had a lot of events that have been going on over the past couple of weeks. There are more to come, and I will be sharing some information about some upcoming ones. In particular, Grazidi Interactive has its Reconverge event coming up in October. I will be a panelist for that, along with some colleagues and friends who you may recognize. I'll be plugging that going forward. But in the meantime, I would like to turn our attention to our guest today. As I mentioned, Jacob Borgeson is the principal product marketing manager with Khoros, and we've known each other for a little while now, but mainly through a mutual friend, Jenny Wagle from Jenny.community. But welcome, Jacob. Great to see you on the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here. And hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're ready for a great weekend after a long, long week. It's been a long week over here. One of these 5-day weeks.
It's been exhausting. I think ever since Labor Day weekend was the short week and everything was compressed into this little short period of time, I've been catching up the entire time, and it's been crazy. And I think, like, for a lot of people in our space, it's just been a super busy time for us. I think, the pandemic and just the interest in online collaboration and community platforms, it's definitely been really busy for me. I'm sure it has been for you as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and working in this environment where whatever they call the Great Resignation, or people moving all over the place too, has made it even more hectic. People, just lots of change organizationally, internally, externally, all over the place. The old saying, change is constant, is kind of really been the theme this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I alluded to a little bit before I brought you into the stream here, this is the season of online community conferences, it seems like. We had CMX pretty recently. Marjorie Anderson had a neat conference a little bit earlier. Swarm is happening. There's still stuff coming up yet, but Khoros Engage was something that just happened this past week. And you've had the experience of seeing a couple of these Khoros conferences before. What were your takeaways from the event?
Yeah, so this was my third one. The first one I did was in person, and that was just amazing. If anybody can remember way back in the before times when we used to be able to have conferences in person.
The days.
And I was so jaded. I didn't like them. Like, I had done so many in my career, and it was just exhausting every time, on your feet, moving around. It's like the Murphy's Law of marketing. Everything that can go wrong goes wrong at an event. And so it's just crazy, and you have a million conversations. But now I miss it so much because it's so hard to maintain focus and kind of get yourself in one solid headspace. Yeah. And a virtual conference. Although I will shout out to the folks at CMX. They put on a great conference, Beth and David and Anne-Marie. And then, of course, our team at Khoros, Ashley and Megan and everybody else on the marketing team really did an amazing job getting all the speakers in. I mean, we had amazing people this year. But yeah, I miss in person, but these virtual conferences, we're getting a lot better at them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the tools are maturing. There seems to be some convergence between communities and event management kind of platforms that are out there. All good developments that can make it a little easier, at least, to get together and network with people and learn together in these kinds of digital environments that we have now. So Jacob, any kind of themes or ideas coming out of the conference that kind of stuck with you now that a few days have had a chance to go by?
Yeah, so I mean, Khoros is a bit different than the other community providers out there because we have a portfolio of solutions around digital engagement. Like we have a social customer service, a social marketing management, social, all things social. Khoros was born out of the merger of Spreadfast and Lithium. Spreadfast was social media management, Lithium was communities and social care. And now we've even added more this year. So we had a couple acquisitions this year where we did an AI and natural language processing insights company. We did a chatbot automation platform with Flow.ai. And bringing that all together has really kind of shifted about community building and customer engagement in general. And that really showed up in this conference because we started talking about what we've been calling the digital service funnel, and the idea that community is kind of the portal, the top of this funnel, where you're trying to answer as many people's questions as possible through self-service and putting the best content and peer-to-peer engagement out there. But when you combine that with tools for agents and community managers to rapidly assess and answer as many customer interactions as possible, and AI to help people find information, I think one area that people are really interested in community but not yet like really seeing much of it is the AI. So and you would think traditionally you don't want AI in a community because what you want to do is foster people talking to each other, asking questions, posting if they can't find something. But communities, like every other digital system in the world, once it gets sufficiently large, it gets really complex and it becomes hard to find things. And that's what AI is good at, is helping you find information, using context, using natural language. And so we've seen a lot of that growth this year. So that's one of the big themes. Let's stop there and kind of let you dig one.
No, it's terrific. I'm really excited about the integration of machine learning and AI and chatbots into community platforms. I think it's essential, especially as you're saying, with larger communities. You have a large number of members, and figuring out ways to engage them. Not everybody wants to engage in the same way. I've been spending some time this week looking at like community guidelines, writing good community guidelines. And one of the guidelines that comes up pretty regularly that I see is, hey, be sure to check the discussions first before you post something, because if you're doing something repetitive, we're just going to kind of point you to the area that you should have gone to, or you're just kind of junking up the community. Not everybody does that. Not everybody's going to search for what's already been put up there. Not everybody's going to go to the FAQ section. But if they see a chatbot there and they've got a way to ask a question, they may choose to do that instead. And I think that's a powerful use of that kind of tool or platform.
Yeah, and hopefully on the back end, if you're looking at all of the customer interactions, whether it's email or chat or community or whatever, we have our acquisition of Topbox, which is now our insights platform, allows you to kind of see like, oh, okay, what are the themes? Like, what are people asking about? What are they happy about when they're talking, and what are they mad about when they're talking? And so you can then say like, well, let's fix the things that they're mad about, and tell product or whoever like to fix those things. But also let's promote the things that people enjoy talking about in our community to more people via marketing programs so that we can get more people in and grow our community.
So getting insights around customer sentiment and having that in the back end and being able to take advantage of that to give them more of the sorts of things that they want to see in the platform, that's also incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it's been a really fun ride this year because after that acquisition in January, we've been working on a lot of that stuff and working with some large customers, like how to actually do it, like how to run these reports and look what keywords, like, hey, anytime somebody mentions a return and they mention these specific set of products and they mention this specific thing breaking, It's been a really neat experience.
Have you heard any sort of anxiety from customers or community managers about the integration of AI and chatbots into the platforms? Like any kind of concerns that have been voiced around that? Like, oh, is it going to be like Cortana, like the Microsoft tool that just suddenly went rogue and did some stuff, or is this going to replace my job as a community manager? Like, I wonder how much any of that comes up for people that maybe haven't like followed some of the developments as closely, as what's available out there freely to learn about.
I mean, I guess that's the kind of like the simplified misconception, right, of the AI as like the jobs terminator.
Yeah, right.
But I think what we've all realized is that we're way too busy, and there's lots of portions of our jobs that we don't like to do. I mean, specifically in contact center jobs where you see most AI stuff today, it's like an 11-month average tenure at a company, which is like 100% turnover, which is ridiculous. And that's just something where like nobody wants to do those things for very long. So
they're rote. They're not interesting. They're mind numbing, and they affect your mental health. Going forward. So like yeah. So I'm totally with you. I think that having those kinds of tools that evaluate posts for things that need to be flagged or issues that would cause a post to be rejected. For it to be able to surface edge cases so that the community manager can decide on the really tough ones. That's a partnership between a live community manager and an automated tool set that just makes life a little bit easier. But I do wonder sometimes, like I always kind of think of like, what's the evil version of this? Do organizations ever come in and say, well, we don't have room for a community manager, we haven't budgeted for one, but you've got this AI tool, can't we just use that and turn it on and use that to run the community?
I haven't heard that one yet. We're not that good with the AI. I mean, I think it's like any tool, people can abuse it, but I'd like to think that the days of Clippy and those kind of AI experiences are over, where they're just not.
I wish.
It's like, it's like the phone ones. I always have a hard time with the phone ones. Like, say what you need. I'm always like, representative, because it never seems to work for me all the way through. Anyways, yeah. It's like, do you want to do a return? No, I want to buy something. Yeah, so that's one side of it. Yeah, definitely. Like, we don't recommend people go 100% in. It's always about, and that's what we focus on with our community applications of AI is making sure we have that human assisted element. Like you referred to, this kind of detecting abusive language, which is actually a partnership we did earlier this year with a company called Samurai Labs, where we plugged their sentiment and abusive language detection algorithm into our moderation framework, so that it can automatically reject or accept posts based on the presence of abusive language. But that, like, the customer can choose whether they reject it. The algorithm returns a score, and if it's over 90, then you maybe automatically reject. But if it's somewhere between 90 and 20, then it goes into a moderation queue for a normal human moderator, and that is this human supervised learning curve, which we try to implement in everything. And the best part about tying community and AI together is the learning curve. So normally AI is trained based on one-to-one support interactions, and having the community element where you can see how the crowd approves and reacts to interactions and answers and accepted solutions and the amount of comments or likes or kudos on a thread, that adds a whole new dimension to the training, which makes it, I think, more human.
Yeah, no, that's amazing and such a powerful tool. Let me express another anxiety then. The organizations, as you talk to them about these tools, are they ever worried there's just a lot of configuration, a lot of manual work getting this all set up, or how tough is it to actually implement these kinds of moderation systems and AI? Does it just come as part of the package with Khoros now?
Yeah, so that's one of our big differences. We also, not only do we have the software, we also have a large professional and strategic services organization. So professional services to help you consulting, and shout out to Jenny Weigel. She was one of them for a while. We have the community strategists on there who help you, like you get one with every community launch for like 6 months to help you set that up and do that. And then the strategic services is another part of our company where you can actually hire them part-time to help you run things and make them successful. And they do this for dozens of large companies. So it's basically like hiring a mentor to work alongside your moderations. The big challenge is that there isn't a lot of expertise out in the world around moderating and managing large scale communities. So it's really easy to make mistakes if you don't have that kind of assistance. But it's also like, we shouldn't be the only ones helping with that. I mean, that's where you and Jenny and lots of other folks come in to help spread this knowledge.
No, absolutely. Yeah, Jenny's giving you a shout out in the channel there. Hey, Jenny, great to see you. Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about the Khoros teams and the, the good work that you guys do. So, I guess thinking about the future of the digital service funnel, this is kind of a new term, and I was trying to wrap my head around it initially. But this is just the idea that if we have customers that have inquiries about the product or service, that they don't necessarily have to talk to a customer service representative. They don't have to get on a phone to deal with somebody. It's not just necessarily a chat engine, but we're actually, getting them guided into the community platform itself, so that peer support is available, so that AI chatbot support is available, and then we're deflecting some of those cases as they're coming in and saving money for the organization, but hopefully answering people's questions so that they're really happy about what's going on. Is that a fair definition of what you mean by the service funnel?
Yeah, like I think that's a pretty good definition. Like, we have an opportunity, right? Like, as things become more subscription, as things become more loyalty based, service becomes marketing, or that's the rumor, and what you want to focus on is not only being as efficient as possible to address these concerns, like having 100% turnover in your contact center and having a lot of frustrating customer experiences, but also like being able to react quickly and build knowledge quickly and create successful customers. And so the funnel is all about, like, okay, so top level deflecting, like having people self-serve. I heard a stat somewhere where it's like 39% of people would rather clean toilets than be on customer service calls. And having cleaned a toilet this morning, I can attest. I'm
with you, man.
I enjoyed it more. Like, I'm one of those 39%. But the next phase is, okay, now that if you didn't find your answer, you need to talk to somebody. The next phase is kind of AI assisted humans. So just like it's hard for customers to find information sometimes, it's also really hard for agents to find that information. Like, they don't know everything. I messed that one up. But so first is deflection, self-service. Second is AI bots answering simple questions like, what hours are you open? Third is the AI assisted human. And then fourth is the full human engagement. And then we tie all of that back together to create a nice virtuous cycle using this kind of AI insights and NLP insights to understand, like, what topics are people mad about? What topics are people happy about? Feed that to the right people to either, shout from the rooftops or fix stuff.
So, and the funnel as you're describing it, that's something that is now immediately available with the Khoros platform?
Yeah, we just did an ebook on it, but yeah, we cover all those bases. So, starting with community, but community is really threaded throughout everything that we do. But yeah, through social media management and through digital care.
That's incredibly powerful. And I wonder, in the days ahead, because it does sound like it's a somewhat newer offering, what kind of data you're going to start to see out of that to be able to talk about, like, how it's impacting organizations and saving them time and money.
Yeah, and some, like, every customer, every company is different. Like, they have some parts of it figured out, so it's not necessarily like you have to buy the whole thing from Khoros. But so we have lots of different ways to approach the problem. Cool.
So one of the other questions we said we were going to address was taking community technology to the next phase. Is that the sort of stuff we've been talking about already, or did you have some other stuff in mind?
No, there's more even. So it's awesome. Really exciting. So like, so we had on the stage, we're lucky enough to do, to have Zoom, the head of customer service from Zoom, on the stage at Engage. And also we just launched their community. And so it's really been a powerful experience to work with somebody who's kind of changing the world, basically. Like,
Yeah.
it's become a verb in the last year and a half. And so like they really talked a lot about kind of customer recognition and building that mentality, the gamification mentality, throughout everything they do, how important that is to them. And it really aligns well with our overall strategy of, like, we're building a future of community, and some people who were engaged and got to see the demo of it, hope you enjoyed it. But the future, we think, is community is not a place, it's an experience that you do. Right now, we specialize in building places people go for peer-to-peer support and peer-to-peer engagement and purchase validation, a whole bunch of other marketing things. But what we want to do is build those kind of collaborative and peer-to-peer engaging experiences in every single customer interaction. So if you think about a search and you land on a community search result, or you think about a purchase, Amazon's the best example. Like, I don't ever buy anything off Amazon with less than 100 reviews and less than 4 stars. Like, I just don't trust it, right? And so that kind of like mentality. And also the greatest thing I love about Amazon is actually the Q&A section, because I can directly ask, is like, I have a very specific use for this thing. Does it do that? And somebody else has asked it and answered it. And that gives me a reliable thing, because like, I just don't get it from the marketing description in most product pages. And so that kind of idea is stuff we've already built with customers, you know, like Sephora and others, but we want to take to more places. We want to make it easier for any brand to build. And we also want to like extend to do totally new things, like such as the digital service funnel, you know, kind of doing the same thing with a marketing funnel, where instead of any sort of static web page, you're always interacting with a group of your peers around any sort of decision or piece of information you're trying to find.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So making community a part of wherever you happen to be going on the web is it's a holy grail. I love it, and I've been thinking of it in terms of I think the term I've been using is sort of community as a multimodal experience, right? Where you are, that's your community is coming with you. It's not living in this one special place on the web.
Yeah, I've been toying with things to call it like social customer experience or collaborative engagement systems. Just like, what do we call this new thing? It's kind of bigger than community, but it also is community.
Fascinating. Well, hey Jenny.
Yeah.
So, and then you mentioned one other topic, which is, what is the future of events? Some special things happening in the Khoros platform around that?
Yeah, so the one big one was the Zoom integration that we did. So now you can embed Zoom webinars and Zoom meetings live in a Khoros event. So you kind of get the benefit of threaded discussions, seeing who's attending, RSVP, in your own branded space. It's very similar to like a LinkedIn event, where you embed the live stream from a different platform like StreamYard, and then you get to see all of the interaction before, during, and after the event. But this time it's kind of a brand-owned social network events. The events is a really big one, I think. That's kind of where we're stopping. We're not trying to take over the conferencing space, for sure. Right. We want to integrate with people who do that much better than us, because it's a really hard problem to solve.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is interesting. Like, I mean, for so long, communities were sort of their own standalone thing, and then we started seeing integrations with other kinds of systems. And as I've kind of grown up with this space, over a period of years, it's nice to see it folding into other areas. And like, what's been really apparent to me over the past year since the pandemic has been this convergence with the events space. And so this whole idea of people coming together for a special conference event, and especially virtually, and there may be in that interactive space during the event, how do you continue that experience over time? And communities have always worked really well with live conferences and events. Great for signups, great for keeping people engaged, or like getting a spike in engagement, dropping in conference proceedings or notes or presentations or recordings into the community itself. But now it's getting even tighter, and sort of breaking down the barriers with the the asynchronous nature of most communities, like in very text heavy kind of approaches, is now much more integrated with video and more capable of setting up more serendipitous kind of interactions. I'm excited to see what's happening in the space. So it's good to hear about the integration you guys are working on.
Yeah, me too. And shout out to our Atlas community of 90 something thousand digital professionals now at Khoros, where we've used that to drive not only our products through innovation, but also our events and topics and what people talk about. So it's been to me, that's been the most eye-opening thing, is just like how great it is to have a community like that to help you make decisions as a person working at a company and building software.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, what's ahead for the rest of the year? What are you looking forward to next? And what can we look forward to from Khoros?
Yeah, I think we'll continue to see just this data tying things together. Like, as we learn from community, there's so much to learn in communities about what people have said, and it's kind of an untapped gold mine for customer sentiment and feedback and ideas. So we'll start to see a lot more of that stuff, and how we can kind of, as we do that with more and more customers, we'll identify like global trends around that, and be able to help guide others, and also help kind of share that insight with everybody else. So I'm looking forward to hopefully talking more conversations like this. Looking forward, and we're going to see Khoros continue to bring pieces together around this digital and community funnel concepts. It's just a better way to engage people with the power of a community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, one last question, because we're getting down there on time here, but this is more of a personal question. When you're not being product marketing manager for Khoros, what is your community that you are in love with in your off time, or a hobby or special interest area, anything like that in terms of, I try to ask guests, what else do you love? Where else are you?
Yeah, so when I moved houses earlier this year to a bigger house for my kids and stuff, somehow I ended up with like a media room. So my big love with community this year has been like figuring out what to do with speakers and setup and projector, and it's been super fun, but also like just makes me realize how big the gap is between the manuals that they give you and like what I actually want to do with them. It's been a lot harder than I thought to learn how to do that stuff. Well, I guess, it makes sense. Like, people have careers doing that, but it's been a really cool community. There's like some AV communities that I've been a part of that talk about speakers, and I have an electrical engineering background, and it blew my mind like how much I didn't know about all this technical stuff, and it's been really fun.
It sounds like the kind of thing, though, that you crack the manuals, or you get into it, and it's just sort of this absorbing world that you can probably like push everything else out to the side. And
yeah, the manuals are like, plug this wire into this thing and into the wall, but it's like so different. Like, you have to like decide what kind of setup you want for your room, and like what kind of experience you want to have. Do you have a light, or like how dark or light is your room? What kind of, like, there's so many factors and variables. It was a bit overwhelming, honestly, and luckily I had some community people to help me.
Yeah, super cool. Well, Jake, I hope you come back again and tell us about the latest stuff that's going on with Khoros. Really appreciate you spending some time with me today. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, I'm sure it's okay to reach out to you on LinkedIn here, and also within the Atlas community if they happen to be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure. Just community.khoros.com. And thank you so much, Todd, for having me. And definitely, I'd love to be back anytime.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Please take some time out and take care of yourselves this weekend. Give yourselves a little bit of downtime, relax, and I will see you here next week for another live stream show. We'll see you later. Take care.